Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Rachele Teson and I'm a Nationally Certified School Psychologist here in Missouri. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can stay up to date on all things School Psych Simplified. For this week's Tech Tip Tuesday, we are going to dive into the world of Google Forms. First things first is figuring out where your Google form should live. If you haven't already checked out my video on Google Drive organization tips for school psychologists, I'll leave a link for that down in the description for you. So this is a screen grab of what I would recommend your Google Drive look like, or one way that works to organize it. So where I would have my Google form live if I was creating this for the first time would be under special education and then under information forms. From here, you could right click and click on Google Forms. Alternatively, you could open up a new web page and type forms.new and a new Google form will generate. One of my favorite things about Google Forms is you can really customize it to whatever you need the form to be about. So let's say you are gathering information for a brand new referral and you're creating a Google form that you want caregivers to fill out, or maybe you're filling out or creating a form that you want your teachers to fill out for the same purpose. Maybe it's a feedback form that you want to provide. Or maybe you're creating a needs assessment for your building. So Google Forms are really versatile, which is something I really appreciate about them. So they do default to just an untitled form, one question, but you can expand and add as many questions as you would need. You can customize this, change the colors, insert pictures, really make it your own. So what I will model for you this week is just a basic of navigating forms. So you'll want to name your form. Let's say that we're creating that information form that we want our caregivers to complete. I call mine a family information form. So you would type that here. And then in the form description, I would use this to our advantage. So putting something in here that's really welcoming and gives the purpose behind the information form. So you might say this family information form is used to gather important and relevant information about your child. Please share anything you feel comfortable with as we move through the information gathering process. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at, and then you can put your email, your phone number, things like that, your contact information, but really make it your own. From there, you would want to start kind of inserting all of your questions. So let's say for this first one, it looks like it defaulted to multiple choice question. But Google Forms lets you choose a variety of questions or question types. So it could be a short answer like someone like the person completing this form. It could be a paragraph. Tell me about the background or the school history and things like that. It could be multiple choice, like what concerns might you have, or things like that, or check boxes. What concerns might you have? It could be a drop down. It could be, insert a file. If you're feeling really fancy, wanting your teachers to kind of upload maybe intervention information, fidelity checks, work samples, things like that. If you're doing a needs assessment, Google form, there's a linear scale option. So you might do on a scale of 1 to 6 and things like that. How did you feel like this professional development helped you? Or how would you rate our building's current culture and climate, things like that. There's lots of different ones. So this first question, since this is a family information form, I might put a date question and just put date form completed and keep it simple. And then make this a required question. To add a new question, all you would have to do is use this side panel within Google Forms. This first one, the plus, is add a question. And then Google Forms is also pretty intuitive, so it knows kind of what you're going for. So if I put person completing form, it's going to default to short answer. I didn't have to change it. And let's say that that's also a required question. From there, I might put another question. If it's super similar to one that I just generated, where it's a short answer, it's a required question, I can also just click this and say duplicate. And all I would need to do is change the name of the question here. So that's kind of a fast way. If you have multiple questions that you want to generate that are pretty similar, that's a fast way to do that. So let's say for this one, we might put student name and have that be a required short answer. Let's say that you also want to have different sections within the Google form. You can also do that. So here on the side panel, you can click add section. And then maybe, since this first part is just kind of who's filling out the form and who's this form about, this first section, you might want to start with student strengths. And you might have questions that you add here about what do you enjoy most about your child? What are some things that they really enjoy doing? What areas of interest do they have? What do they want to be when they grow up? All those kinds of things. So those would be important to include in a strengths section. Let's say you want to add a section and you want it to be about their health or their vision and hearing, or you can break it down by lots of different things. What I do is I have a form that follows the exact flow of what we use in Missouri, what we call a review of existing data, or that information gathering phase, where we're coming up with the evaluation plan after compiling everything we already know about that student. So that's one way to kind of generate and kind of add questions to a Google form. Something else that I do, because I try really hard to have really good customer service or hospitality within school psychology. So whenever I go to the settings section for this, and I'm thinking about the caregiver's experience when filling out this form, they're going to see this default, your response has been recorded, and that feels pretty robotic to me. So something that I do is I click edit and I change what that says. So I might say, thank you so much. Your input is very valuable as part of this process. Something that's more Rachel and more on, within my personality and a little bit more human. So once you would change that to make it sound like you, thank you so much for completing this form. Your input is appreciated. And then I might hit save. You can also click some preferences on how you want it presented. So do you want to show a progress bar so the person filling it out has a good experience of, okay, I'm 10% done, I'm 50% done. I typically don't shuffle the question order. I think that would only be confusing to the person who is filling out the form. I like the confirmation message that I have here. I don't want to show a link to submit another response because, again, I'm thinking about the experience of the caregiver filling this out. I don't want them to think, am I done? Or do I need to fill this out again? So I untoggle that one. You can have it share a summary. I personally don't have this turned on. I'm going to gather that summary and then share it back out with the caregiver. So I don't share that with them. And there's some other settings here that you can kind of play around with. In terms of the responses within Google Forms, you can also link this to a Google Sheet if you want to do your data analytics that way. Once you have some data entered from the form, you'll see some nice charts that Google Forms will generate for you, things like that. So let's say that you finished up your form and you're ready to send it. There's a couple different ways to do that. Whenever you come up to the top, you'll see this send button. And if we click on that, there is a default method to send this through Google Forms. I personally don't use this method. I go over to the link icon and I click on shorten URL. And then this is the link that I then copy and then paste into the communication that I'm sending to the caregivers that I'm working with. So that's how I send it. I grab this, I drop it into that communication, and then from there, the caregiver who's filling this out will see something that looks like this. There's a preview button to kind of see what they will see, but it'll look like the form without kind of the behind the scenes editing that you see here. And then in terms of some additional customization, if you came up here to customize theme, you can change the font. So you know that I like Poppins, so I might change it there. You can change the size. If it's helpful to put things in bold, you can do that. If you have a certain picture, maybe a school logo or a Bitmoji of you or a picture of you, you could do that. Or if there's a different color, it defaults to purple. But if you wanted to have that match your school or your aesthetic, you can definitely do that as well. So there's some customization there, which is nice. I hope this was helpful in terms of converting maybe some paper forms that you might have been using, or maybe it's been phone interview style. I hope that you'll consider using Google Forms as a way to increase your efficiency with information gathering as part of the referral and evaluation process. If you have ways that you're using Google Forms for this, please leave a comment down below so that we can all learn from each other. And if you're interested in a future video on how to then take this information from a Google form and easily have it populate into a template, please let me know, because that's something that I could definitely do if there's an area of interest there. And if you have any other questions or future video ideas for me, please leave a comment below. See you next week.